with the long day that a pentathlon requires.
Absolutely, and as we mentioned earlier, we spoke about some people's parkrun times. I'm looking down the start list, and virtually every single athlete in this field has done a parkrun. How does that contribute to their confidence levels and their ability levels coming into this?
Yeah, parkrun is absolutely fantastic. It gives you such a baseline. You can use it week in, week out if you want to. You can use it once a month. You can use it however you please. So for these athletes to have a parkrun and have a solid 5k in them and know that they are more than able at that 5k is absolutely brilliant for them. The confidence that that will give them to get around 3k is fantastic. And to know that their competitors are in a similar position, also absolutely brilliant because it brings out that competitiveness yet again, and that's what we want to see.
So just seeing all the athletes called up to the line, they're just obviously making sure their feet are behind, as we mentioned before. But it is really great to see that the course has held up on this start line. It is still very green, especially compared to the spectator areas. That is really good, and that's going to create racing, at least.
Yeah, like we've seen in the other races, that start has been so quick, and that is partly down to how good that start line has held up. So yeah, I'm sure the athletes will be really relieved to see that. But yeah, it is absolutely brilliant. If we can see that throughout the rest of the course, well, obviously it has its muddy patches. We've seen the state of the athletes as they've come away. But the greener it is, the faster the race is going to be. And it's going to be so exciting, especially the start, because it's going to be so quick.
Do we have potential to see the 800 runners hit the front really quickly, or are we anticipating it to be more the 800 runners hold back and try and use the strength at a latter stage? Because at this age group, you do have the 8 and the 15 gap. So it would be interesting to see how different distances go about their race.
Yeah, I think we'll start to see more tactics being deployed in this race. We'll see some 800 athletes potentially conserve their energy, some potentially just go for it and see what happens. But you also might see some do a little bit of both there. You might see the 800 athletes really go out hard and then just hold themselves back a little bit, let the race progress, and just have gone out to try and get themselves in a good position for that final stage where they can really bring out that raw 800 metre speed that they have in those latter stages.
That is what we see across racing as a whole. Even if you look at a 15 race, sometimes you have the 8 runners coming through into the 15, just sitting in a group, and just hoping they have enough in the last 200, 150 to do what they can. But here we go then. This is the Year 7 Boys National Cross Country, our final event of the day here in a wet and a less so than earlier windy, but still somewhat windy Loughborough. We can see quite a big field here. Again, very multicoloured, which is nice to see, with so many clubs, regions, counties, organising bodies bringing athletes to the event.
Yeah, absolutely. We've said it so many times today that to see this breadth of teams is absolutely fantastic. Like, it is so good to see this many athletes coming from all corners of the UK, because our sport is just going from strength to strength at the minute, and that is something we can only be pleased about and can only be encouraged by as we move into the future. We love to see athletics showcased in this way, as well as the ways that we've seen it in the Diamond Leagues, in the track events. But to bring it back down to cross-country like this and still see such success and such popularity is so reassuring for future years.
Absolutely, and again, looking down the start list, I can see Kieran James of Leicestershire is currently ranked 15th in the UK for 1500 with a time of 4:42, which is really quite impressive for someone so young. But I'm not sure how he's doing in this race. I can't pick out the Leicestershire vest on that screen of the front runners.
Yeah, he's definitely one to look out for. It's going to be difficult for us to know without a better look at the numbers. I believe Leicestershire might be running in black, so that could be him sat in 4th at the minute. But also looking down the list, I've picked out an Oliver Knight here for Birmingham Running and Triathlon, so the BRAC Club, who's run an 18:36 parkrun, so also very impressive for a Year 7 aged athlete to be running that speed. And we could be seeing these athletes go on to do some really great things in years to come.
Can't see the BRAC athlete in that league group. I did have him down as one of the favourites, as you can see on the notes there, they're bright gold. But I can't see him in the league group, which is somewhat surprising. But then I guess if you're a really great road runner, so many times you see these really good road runners just not be able to hack it on the grass. It's a very different surface. It's very difficult to transfer between the two if you're not comfortable on the grass before.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot to be said for a change in terrain. There are some athletes, like the track athlete that we've just spoken about, who could go out and knock out a really strong 1500 metres, but the second you get onto the grass, it becomes a slightly different style of running. Your gait does change a little bit, and it's just what suits you. Sometimes you have to learn the craft a different way, and the same applies then to the road as well. it's a whole different ball game. It's a different art to learn. And if you can learn all three and nail all three, they've done fantastically well. But sometimes athletes find that they just excel in one, and that's also just as good because their energy can go purely into focusing on that then.
We should here be able to pick up the numbers perhaps if they turn back towards us at this point of the course. But a clear group of three off the front of the field. And this has been the first time we've had the front three potential medalists go clear quite early on. I think that is Casper Pearson, number 701 in the lead for Northumberland Schools Association. He's an 800 runner, so perhaps he's used a tactic. We spoke about going quite hard, but he's run 2:31, but he looks in better shape than that there, being this far forward this early on.
Yeah, absolutely. He could be, for all we know, he could be, in a completely different shape right now. He looks to be running very, very strongly. But I also picked out Finley Winship of the City of Norwich AC in that lead pack as well. He was last year's winner, so they're in very, very good company there. And it's going to be an exciting race.
We can now see Casper dropping off that lead group. So the front two just moving clear, but it is also worth noting that whilst Casper is 284th ranked in the 800, I don't think he could have gone much further at that age group on the track. So perhaps he is really a 15 runner.
Yeah.
And just hasn't had the opportunity to run that yet.
Yeah, definitely. Age groups, as good as they are, they do hold athletes back in that sense, in the way that you cannot explore these distances. These athletes are allowed to run 3,000 metres over the cross-country distance. However, they get to the track and they're not allowed to go above 1,500 metres just yet. So age groups do hold athletes back and stop them potentially finding their true strength and what they are really, really good at until they get to a certain age.
Absolutely. I know I definitely found that because, as you mentioned earlier, with your lack of speed, I was the exact same. I just kept going to the furthest events I could do. I waited till I could do a 10k on the road, straight into a 10k on the road. Waited till I could do the 3k, did that. This year I'm able to do the 5,000, so I'm going to move into that. I think the further events suit different people more, the shorter events suit different people more. But it is good to have events like this where 3,000 metres is an event that an 800 runner could do, and a 1,500 runner could do, even a 5k runner could do. So it is good to have this middle ground, and I think they should do that more in elite running. So imagine having like a 600 between a 400, 10k ball and Keely Hodgkinson. It would be really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think it could be the way that our sport starts to move. We all love the traditional events. We love the 5 and the 10k and the 8 and the 15 and people doubling up traditionally, if you like. But if we have these showcase events where you've got a 600 metres or a 1,000 metres, which sometimes you see in the indoors, but if we can move that outdoors, we could really, really make some exciting showcases away from the traditional events that we do see. And as much as tradition needs to be kept, we also need to explore new things, and that could be a way for us to bring more money into the sport, and money talks, and that's how our sport will grow.
Absolutely right. And I'm just looking through some of the notes we made before. Athlete 373 is in the lead of the race, but unfortunately he was a late entry, so we don't actually have any information.
Yeah, I had a little look, found the exact same. But yeah, fantastic running. We're seeing that big snake coming through. You can see some athletes coming a little bit wider now, suggesting that inside line might just be getting a little bit slippery for these athletes as the day has gone on. So these athletes running wide, they might just be looking for a little bit better ground as they come through onto their second lap by the looks of things. We're back to our leader now as they're coming around, and you can see, yeah, that inside race line is really, really slippery, so doing very well, even just to stay upright, never mind run at the pace these athletes are running at. It's fantastic to see.
Our leader, I've gone into the master start list. He's Oliver McDonald in the 373. We don't have any information on him, but we can confirm that he's Oliver McDonald in the lead of the cross country.
It is great to see as well for us to have a new athlete coming through, an athlete we may not have heard of before, coming through to do so well at such a big event. So Oliver coming through to run this race is absolutely brilliant, and hopefully will encourage him and his teammates to continue on in this path and get some good training in.
We can see very, very spread out at the front and at the back of the race. But I think that was somewhat to be expected as the distances get on. You're not going to get the close racing the further it gets on. When you look at like the senior races, you've got athletes finishing sometimes an hour before other athletes. So I think we did expect it to spread out, but it's still a bit disappointing that there's not that one big pack, because it's always really exciting standing at the finish line, and everywhere you look there's sprint finishes going on, and people dip into the line, people falling over at the line. It's what makes cross country so unique.
It is, and that's why we love cross country. So it's great to see a breakaway, and I think you're exactly right with as the distance gets longer, the pack is going to become more and more strung out. It's just how running works, it's how it's going to go. But it is a shame that we're not going to see that big pack coming across the line today, to add a little bit of drama to the event, a little bit of excitement. But hey, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what athlete is going to, what's going to happen where. So for all we know, our leader could end up falling over at some stage, and it could end up being caught. So we might still see a little bit of drama yet. Let's hope not for his sake. But you never know. It's not over till it's over.
But that's what makes cross country so good. On a track race, there's very limited obstacles that can really cause you to have a bit of a failure or fall or slow up too much. On the cross, the conditions really do take it out of you. But we're not seeing that here at all.
No, absolutely not. I'm sure the athletes are feeling a little bit different to what we've just said there. But no, they're looking so strong. They're looking like things are going so well for them out there at the minute. I mean, look at the gap from our leader there. It's absolutely huge. So things are going swimmingly, you could say, for them right now, even though it's dried up a little bit.
You could see the leader there start to edit his little arm movements. Potentially there, he's starting to feel it a bit. Maybe he's cramping up in his shoulder or something.
Yeah, potentially, or it could be there was a little slip there, just a little bit of off balance. I did see him check behind him a minute ago, which could represent a little bit of fatigue maybe. As we're coming around, he's just going up into that finish field now, so hopefully not too long for him to hold on. He's got a nice big gap, big cushion, so even if they do catch up a little bit, hopefully he's got enough left to hold on to that lead now.
That stretch there, it's around 75 metres from previous experience of running that field, so he's a long way clear. I wouldn't anticipate him getting caught, because I think he's only got about 30 seconds to a minute left of his cross country. But it is interesting to see those trailing him there. I believe that was a Reconcil Valley athlete, so it could be a double podium for them in the Year 7 categories.
Yeah, absolutely, and that would be absolutely fantastic for the club. But we have got our winner coming down that straight now. It won't be long until he's coming across the line.
The support from the crowd, even on this far field where, even at the inter-counties, you don't really get people around there. The sport's good, you can see all the parents, all the spectators, even the little dog there giving a clap to the athletes.
And that's what we love to see, and that's one thing, again, that makes cross country so unique, is that you can get so many spectators out there, and even have your dogs and your whole family there, which is absolutely brilliant. It generates a really unique atmosphere, and it's something that can't be replicated elsewhere, even on the track, as exciting as track can be.
But celebrating across the line, Oliver McDonald is your Year 7 boys national cross country champion, and we'll await second and third place as they come towards the line over that back field.
Yeah, and what a fantastic run that was from Oliver. Like, that's an absolute masterclass of cross country for them, for everybody to see. The rest of the field is still looking so strong as they're coming through. You can see athletes coming in one after the other now. There is second and third crossing the line. So fantastic run from them. What looks like it could be another Merseyside best in fourth there. So yeah, these athletes have had a fantastic run.
I think it might have been Cumbria in second and fifth as well. And then a Worcestershire coming through there for sixth. That's quite a good finish from Worcestershire.
Yeah, very good. Absolutely. These athletes, it's easy to forget that this is a national stage. So the best in the country are here in this age group. And it's easy for that fact to be forgotten. So even a top 10 finish is a huge achievement. A lot of focus, of course, goes to the winners and the medalists, but yeah, top 10, top 20 finish, if you put it into perspective, this is a whole country, and that is seriously impressive running.
And of course, these athletes next year will be battling the beast that is in the English schools. If they can come in the top 6 there, they do get an international best. If you come 6th or above at the English schools cross country, you do get to represent Team England, if you're from England, or Team Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland, at the SIAB Champs, which are actually today in Liverpool. So potentially these athletes in the top 6, it would be a push to beat the older age groups, but potentially looking at international best soon.
Yeah, and like we said earlier about it being a developmental stepping stone for them, moving into the English schools, it allows them to go to English schools competitively rather than being overwhelmed by the occasion next year. So even if they go next year and realise, because they'll be bottom age of the juniors, they might have some stronger competition, but it gives them that chance to be really competitive and move forward in a way that they can perform to the best of their ability next year, regardless, and aim for that international best, regardless of the size and the magnitude of that occasion.
But thankfully for these runners crossing the line, and thankfully for us, this is the last event of the day and we can all go and get warm. But don't forget that in about 15 minutes time we'll have the presentation of the Year 7 girls, the Year 7 boys, the Year 6 girls, the Year 6 boys, the Year 5 girls and the Year 5 boys medals for the top 3. So do hang around for that and show your support to those very successful athletes we've had here today.
Yeah, it would be absolutely great to get a big crowd around the big screen. That presentation, like we said, will celebrate the top 3 in each race, and they'll be presented with their medals there. So yeah, if you can hang around, that presentation does take place in just over 15 minutes time after this race.
Athletes still filtering through the finish area here. As we said, it is going to be a lot more spread out. It is a long way to run, 3,000 metres, almost 2 miles. 2 miles is 3,200, so quite a reasonable distance, and much further when you consider our Year 4 girls and boys at the start of the day when you had to go 1,400. This is over double the distance.
It is, and it changes the race completely. Whilst these athletes are older, they are stronger, it's only right that they are running further. It does change the game quite a lot, especially if you look into the science behind it. These athletes are having to use different energy systems, different strengths to combat this distance and these conditions as well. It's much harder running than it was at the start of the day, despite the wind having dropped a little bit now.
We see another faller at the finish line now, right in the mud patch. We've seen a lot of that today. Some of it out of tiredness, some of it out of just slipping in the mud. But we can still see athletes coming around and into the final field. And I'm sure we'll have another 2 or 3 minutes of racing here in windy Loughborough, and then we can move on to the presentation and we can all get warm.